Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Addison. Just wanted to give you guys my first monthly update on our trucking investment. This one's going to be pretty short. I'm just going to tell you basically what happened. Nothing wild. But before I tell you exactly what we made, I can tell you first and foremost, it wasn't a scam. We got paid, and we got paid on time. That doesn't speak to necessarily the quality of the investment. You know, it could stop at any given time before we even start profiting. So that's why I'm going to continue to make these monthly updates as we go along. So you see the whole journey. You're not just seeing, oh, I got paid once and then that's it. It must be the best investment ever. I don't necessarily think that yet, and that's why I'm doing this. Just you guys can follow along. Yeah, so I kind of left you guys hanging last time as far as who we invested with. I'll tell you right now that it was with TED Associates or TED Automation. You guys can go look on their YouTube channel. That's how I found out about them. Yeah, they're pretty awesome guys, Anton and Eric. They're just two normal guys. They're dads. They got a couple kids themselves, and yeah, they were just kind of really upfront with me about what their business model is, how much, kind of how everything works, all the behind the scenes kind of structure behind everything. And when I originally talked to them, I think they were the third company I reached out to when I was doing my research. And at the time, they were doing a completely different model. They had a package where I think you paid like $35K, and then they guaranteed you like $2,000 a month or something like that at a flat rate. And that was with a different trucking partner who I think was in Wisconsin or something like that, maybe Minnesota, who they just had happened to meet in their business dealings. And yeah, it just wasn't, they were first and foremost able to admit that wasn't the best venture for them. It was doable, but it wasn't exactly sustainable for them. So they found a different partner, and by the time I had gotten my funding in place, by the time I was ready to go, they had switched their trucking partner to who they work with now. His name's Wesley. He runs a trucking company called Rangeway Carriers. You can look up their website. They've been in business for 10 years, yada, yada, yada. If you go on the TED Automation YouTube channel, you will learn more about Wesley, what they do. They have a ton of Q&A. They've been posting a ton of videos lately, which is actually super helpful. They didn't have those when I bought in. So, yeah, I guess the package that we got with them was their 40K model, their option one, which was kind of a limited number of slots. I think they only had like 18 or 20 trucks that they wanted to offer that way. Yeah, so we paid $40,000 to them, and I can go in a later video talk to you about how we did that. I didn't take out my life savings to purchase that. We financed it, but did that in a calculated way. It just needed to make sense to take out debt to do something like that. And to me, it does make sense, but I can explain that later. Yeah, we paid $40K to them. From the time we paid, it took 2 weeks for the truck to get on the road. And then from the time that truck got on the road, it was 6 weeks before we actually got paid. And per our contract, the truck runs for a month, and that's how much the sort of revenue period is. And then they have 2 weeks to pay you after that. So we got paid on time on May 15th, right on the deadline, which I couldn't expect much more. You contractually say, we'll pay you 15 days after the month ends, and they did. So I can't complain. It wasn't early, but I can't complain that it was on time. Yeah, and so something to note about their option one package, I had to ask Wesley, who is the trucking company owner, and he's probably transparent to a fault. He'll tell you anything and everything. And what he told me is that the 40K package really doesn't make them any money. And that may not make sense up front, but in the long term, they have a long-term goal with this. It's not just a short-term grab. So he offered up the 18 or 20 trucks to run basically at no profit to himself. They're sustaining, they're paying drivers, they're paying their expenses, but they're not profiting really off of the trucks that are in the pool at that option level. And here's why: because it's not proven. And like, you got guys like me here being guinea pigs. They're using people like me who pretty much got a zero risk, like free $30,000 or more on back on their investment, and that it's basically their marketing. Like, they're going to have people like me who are going to be the testimony. They're going to see the month to month payments that they have paid me, or people like me that bought this package, and that's their marketing. And then from there on, they'll sell their bigger packages where you have to actually buy the truck. But it sort of just proves their legitimacy. It proves that they're a company that meets their obligations, and that they can run a successful trucking operation. They'll be able to prove for certain, here's the revenues that we can create. Here is the percentage of that percentage of the profit that we can share with the investor. And ultimately, I basically purchased their marketing, and they are going to use the trucks that I invested in as their proof of concept. And this option won't be around anymore after they fill all those slots. They're even gonna go away with the option 2, which is where you lease a truck from them, and eventually it comes into like you end up owning it or something like that. But eventually their complete business model with their trucking automation will turn into the option 3, where you purchase your own truck and you pay the fee, and you keep, I forget what the revenue share is. I want to say it's 70%, 75%, something like that. That is more scalable for them. That's the sustainable business model for them. My trucking option that I bought is not sustainable for them. After the 2.5 years that my contract is up, I can't renew that. I'd have to purchase a truck after that, which, hopefully we're in the position to where we can do that. And if we've formed a trustworthy relationship with them, and I feel comfortable doing that, then I think it'd be a great thing to do if we've got a good track record. But yeah, I appreciated their honesty with that. Like, hey, like, what you got is not going to happen forever, and if you want to do this long term, it's going to be with the option 3. You're going to have to buy your own truck. And yeah, it's good to hear that up front, to sort of know their long-term goal, know their long-term intentions. But yeah, that being said, I don't have a script today. This is going to be a short and sweet one. Yeah, I don't think there's much else to say. You guys can leave questions in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer. But for exactly what you came here to see how much we got paid, I'm going to put a screenshot on the screen now. I can't show it to you as I'm doing this because I'm recording on my phone. But we got paid $2,369 in the month of April. And yeah, $2,369, not bad for doing absolutely nothing. So I think on their website for that option 1, they're advertising between $2,500 and over $4,000. So it's maybe slightly less than advertised, but the cool thing is that they provided us a monthly report, and they basically explained why the revenue is why the revenue was what it was. And it happened to be, so the option 1, basically I invested into a pool of 10 trucks, and those 10 trucks make a total revenue of, let's say, $200,000 or whatever. And then I take basically 10% off of a tenth of that, if that makes sense. So the risk is spread out between 10 trucks instead of my revenue being only tied to a single truck, which in this case, 2 of the 10 trucks that they were running in that pool were down for an entire week. So their revenue was super low, and they provided a report that showed that. I think on a good week they're making like $7,000 or something like that per truck, and there was 2 trucks that only made like $2,000 or something like that. So it was a good explanation for why maybe they were slightly below expectations. But at the time of the report, they're already 2 weeks into the next month, and they report those first 2 weeks of May as well, and those were so much higher than the month before. So by the time we get paid next month, it should be a good bit higher of a payment. But honestly, like for not doing anything, for not working at all, $2,300 a month would be amazing. Like, and after the rough numbers, even if you get just $2,000 a month, you're paying off your investment in 20 months, and then the contract is for 30. So you've got 10 months of profit basically, which you do the numbers on that, and that's way better than any stock market deal that most average person, the average person's gonna invest in. So I don't know. I think it's still a pretty good investment theoretically. Time will tell, and time will prove the success of these trucks. But yeah, you guys are along for the ride with me, and we'll catch you next time.